Okay, section 3 of chapter 5. Now we're going to solve multiple step inequalities. So we did this with the equations before, and now we're going to do it with inequalities and also talk about how the distributive property will work into this whole process here. So multiple step inequalities is the new thing that we're going to talk about today. So in solving multi-step inequalities, you can solve them by undoing the operations in the same way you would undo them to solve a multi-step equation, similar to like reverse order of operations. So we're going to write an inequality for this one and then solve it. To find the sales Mrs. Jones needs if she earns a monthly salary of $2,000 plus a 10% commission on her sales. Her goal is to make at least $4,000 per month. What sales does she need to meet her goal? Focus on the word at least. So the amount that she needs to make is 4,000 or more. So that's what at least means. Okay, so she takes her base salary plus her commission times the amount that she sells. Remember, it's 10% commission on her sales. That means like if she makes $100, 10% of that is 10. So if she sells $100, she would get 10% of that. So 10% of 100 is 10. Okay, so the base salary is $2,000 and her sales is whatever it is. So we call that X, and 10% as a decimal is 0.10. That has to be greater than or equal to 4,000. So if we solve that, you subtract 2,000 from both sides, then divide by 0.10. So X has to be greater than or equal to 20,000. So that means she must make at least 20,000 in sales to meet her monthly goal. So if she hits 20,000 or any more than that, she'll be good. If she gets $19,999 in sales, she won't quite hit $4,000 per month. All right, so go ahead and read this one, pause the video, and hit play when you're ready. All right, we're back. So the print shop advertises a special to print 400 flyers for less than the competition. The price includes a $3.50 setup fee. If the competition charges $35.30, what does the print shop charge for each flyer? So they want to print $400 for less than the competition. So it would have to be $35.50. Their price would have to be less than that because they have to beat the price. The setup fee is $3.50, so we're adding that on already to the charge for the 400 flyers. So it's 400 flyers times the price of each flyer. So 400 times how much it is per flyer. Okay, so 400 flyers times the cost of each flyer plus $3.50 setup fee has to be less than $35.50. So subtract off the $3.50, and you get 400 x equals $32.50, and you're going to divide both sides by 400. Let's cancel. You get x equals 0.08125. Now, what's that mean in context of the problem? Well, since we're dealing with money, the 0.08125 in terms of money, if you think of it as money, would be 8.125 cents. But you really don't, you either have 7 cents, 8 cents, 9 cents, 10 cents. You can't talk about like part of a penny. Okay? So I accidentally wrote equal signs in there. They should be less than. So if the price has to be less than $0.08125, it would have to be 8 cents per copy to beat the competition's price. Okay? Because it has to be less than 0.08125, and the only amount of money that is less than that is 8 cents or less. Okay? Pretty cool stuff there. Alrighty. So when multiplying or dividing by a negative number, remember the direction of the inequality symbol changes, and this also holds for multi-step inequalities. But be careful, if you add or subtract a negative to both sides, it does not change. It's only when you multiply or divide. So if I want to solve this one, what do we have to do? Okay, well first, since there's only one variable, since there's a variable only on one side, I get the variable by itself. So I have to add 13 to both sides. And I get negative 11y is greater than 55. Then divide both sides by negative 11. Notice the direction of the inequality symbol is reversed because we divided by negative. So y is less than negative 5. And here's the answer in Set Builder. Notice open circle and negative 5 shade to the left. All right, here's 2 for you to try. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, we're back. So 23 is greater than or equal to 10 minus 2w. Going to subtract 10 from both sides. Be careful because the 10 is positive. You're subtracting 2w from that. So to get rid of the 10, you have to subtract 10. So 13 is greater than or equal to negative 2w. Then divide both sides by the negative 2. And you reverse the inequality symbol. 2 goes into 13 6.5 times. So w is greater than or equal, or negative 6.5 is less than or equal to w, which is the same as w is greater than or equal to negative 6.5. So on a number line, you graph negative 6.5 with a closed circle and shade everything to the right. Cool. All right, let's look at our other one. This case, you would subtract 11 from both sides, and you have 42 is greater than negative 4. Y. Divide both sides by negative 4, and you would get negative 10.5 is less than y, or y is greater than negative 10.5. So on your number line, negative 10.5, open circle, shade everything to the left. Alrighty, pretty cool there. All right, you can translate sentences into multi-step inequalities and then solve them using properties of inequalities. So here's an example. Define a variable and write an inequality to solve the problem. 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times the number plus 45. Let n be the number. So 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times a number plus 45. So 5 minus is subtraction, 6 times the number, if the number is n, it's 6n, is more than, means greater than, 4 times the number, 4n, plus 45. Okay, so there's our inequality. And first I subtracted 4n from both sides. So like this. I have 5 minus 10n is greater than 45. Subtract 5 from both sides. 10n is greater than, negative 10n is greater than 40. Divide both sides by negative 10, and you flip the inequality symbol, and you would have n is less than negative 4. Pretty cool stuff there. So here's one for you to try. 2 more than half of a number is greater than 27. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, we're back. So 2 more than half of a number. So if it's 2 more than half of a number, I got to figure out what half the number is and then add 2 to it. That has to be greater than 27. Okay, that's the inequality. So subtract 2. You get 1/2 n is greater than 25. Multiply both sides by 2 over 1. And I get n is greater than 50. Okay, so it would be the set of all n such that n is greater than 50. If you graphed it, 50, open circle, n is greater than 50. Notice I did not reverse the inequality symbol because I did not multiply or divide by a negative. All right, guys, that's it for the first half of this section. Stay tuned for the next video. See you there.